Hey, everybody.
Welcome to Trust Relations, the podcast.
I'm here with April, the founder of Trust Relations and the doyen of all things public relations.
And of course, we're joined by the wonderful Hamish, our marketing lead and expert in the space, who I like to call my marketing other half.
We're tackling some of the biggest topics in news and integrated marketing and learning from the mistakes that make headlines or sink brands.
So join us as we have a chat about what works, what doesn't, and what we have to say about all of it.
Hamish.
Hello, April.
I clapped and woke up Layla. Look how cute she is.
Oh, she's always cute.
Look how cute.
Hello there. Hello.
Hi, everybody. This is your show producer, Veronica, chiming in with today's communications buzzwords. April's word is sny, and for Hamish, the word is sklent. Happy listening.
Doesn't she look like a little white fox? Little Arctic fox.
Mm-hmm.
Look at her little face. She's looking at me.
You are smitten, aren't you?
I'm so in love with her. It's like we're like mutually in love. She's also very, very jealous of me giving attention to any of the other animals. She thinks that I'm exclusively her mom. It's very cute.
It's very cute. I'm
It's
sure it'll get tiring, but it's cute.
It's not tiring. It's adorable. But there is a healthy competition between her and Alton, the other cat. The other cat that's a res cat. I like
Mom.
I like
Mom, it's me, pick me, Mom.
It's so cute. I like being fought over. It's funny because I saw something on Instagram that was like, someday somebody will be totally obsessed with you. It might be a dog, but it will happen. And I was like, yeah, I knew that. That's me. They're amazing. They're amazing creatures. Unconditional love.
Yes, I love my two dogs as well.
They're amazing. If only people
Shout out
could
to
do
my
that
two dogs. Hope you're listening.
without loving. I have a question. Cooper told me one of your dogs' name is Licorice, but it's a golden retriever.
No,
Why?
No, it's not. It's a golden colored Labrador retriever.
Why, if it's gold, is it named Licorice?
Just because it's a cool name. And what you can have licorice straps, which are what color? They can be red. They can be green.
No,
Licorice doesn't have to be black.
they're only red or black.
I'll see. So you can have a red dog. Would that be more normal?
If you had a red dog named Licorice, I would understand. But
Oh, look,
gold,
I've just typed.
like
typed into
butters. Why
Google.
not butterscotch?
Here, butterscotch. Butterscotch. Come on.
I mean, you named it Licorice. What's the difference? What's happening? What's this competition
interesting.
about?
No, real licorice, which is black and licorice candy, is made from the roots of the licorice plants, which can also be spelled licorice, Liquorice, licorice. Red licorice isn't really licorice at all, except in name. It's just red candy. Oh. Black is redundant because all licorice is black or dark in color. Oh, interesting.
This is going to be riveting information for our listeners.
Sorry. So yes, why is licorice? We like the name.
Okay, fair. What else is going on with you and Licorice? Are they still digging out?
For those who don't know or didn't hear the episode, my dogs were escaping all the time. They had found the side gate. If they dug, they could dig underneath it. And then I dug a trench where they were digging and filled it with concrete so they couldn't. And then they started to pull strongly enough on the gate till they broke it, and then they escaped that way. But what we found was that back of our property, they were doing some construction and they were drilling through concrete and steel. And it was when they were doing that the dogs went nuts because it was obviously hurting their ears. Since they finished that, they're no longer trying to. I do still have to fix the gate because before I went away, I basically built a World War II style metal stakes in the ground. I had bricks, big concrete pavers of about a foot by a foot long, stacked against those, so they just couldn't get to the gate. It was real quality engineering, I guess, is the way you could probably describe it.
Sounds like quite a snide. I'm really impressed.
It was.
Well, good for you. I love that for you. That's really frustrating. Dogs get out, especially when you get calls from neighbors when you're asleep.
Yeah. Or when you're in the office and you get a call, "Man, I've got your dog tied up onto a pole because they got out." Oh, again. Thank you. So,
Oh,
yeah, no,
wow.
all good. All right, let's get you
All
back on
right.
track,
All
Miss
right.
White.
Sorry.
You've just really deviated there.
Is deviated your word of the day?
Nope.
Okay.
Yes, for everybody. Communication buzzword is back.
Okay. So today we're going to discuss a marketing conundrum around what can go wrong when brands engage celebrities or influencers.
I like
And
it.
and one of the main things that we see on the PR side is that the arrangement is made for the brand ambassador, but within the contract, you don't have a specific agreement about the number of media
Output.
appearances or interviews or things like that that they will do. And so it's very, very, very important in any contract with an influencer celebrity, if you're planning on using them long term, to get all of those asks included up front. Because
Fantastic.
the wrong thing to do is assume, okay, cool, we're now working with a celebrity. We've got a relationship with them. We already signed this contract. And like, of course they'll do the interview with,
Rolling Stone magazine.
right,
No.
exactly, whatever it is, fill in the blank. So, because they probably won't.
Mm-hmm.
Or
that's a
they'll,
really good tip.
or even worse, not will they'll do it, but they'll say, oh, of course we'll do that for 20K or something outrageous because they've already locked you in. You're already attached to them as a spokesperson. And oh, you didn't include that in the contract. That's going to be an extra. And so you pay. So very, very important to make sure that anything that you might want to use them for is included up front.
That's a really good tip. As we'd say in Australia, it's splint. They're deviating from what the known course is and what's been agreed to. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a really good tip there. Another one that I would give as a tip is make sure that the influencers' long-term goals have been discussed with you so that you know if they're going to be changing their own personal brand, if they're going to be looking to change who they are. I mean, look at Disney stars who have come out and wanting to reimagine who they are. And they've been all this sugar and spice and everything nice. And then they suddenly come out and they're wearing lingerie or doing whatever. One Direction, another example where they were these wholesome boys, they split up and then they've come out with, being sex symbols and have this status. Make sure if you're looking to use an ambassador or an influencer, you know what their long-term goals are. Are they in this for the long haul? Are they looking to stay as who they are? And does that align with who you want to be as a brand into that medium or however?
Yeah. That plus, I would say in today's very polarizing cancel culture landscape, it's really important to make sure that any potential missteps that a spokesperson might have regarding the brand values are figured out up front. So we actually are currently about to work with a company that had a spokesperson who basically had to be dropped because she was making controversial comments about COVID and it wasn't on brand for the company.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, she was, how do I say it? She was
Misaligned with the brand.
misaligned with the brand. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So basically just wasn't a good fit based on her mask wearing and restriction related comments, but is the kind of thing where you have to be really careful that you end up with a spokesperson that is inherently aligned with your brand. Because for another brand, her coming out and saying whatever she did about wearing masks and vaccines and stuff like that is probably on brand if you're a certain kind of brand, but if you're not, then it's a problem. So you just need to.
Well, I mean, if we take it as a broader perspective on things as well, look at what happened in the NFL a couple of years ago with political statements being made by, taking the knee and things like that. Yes, it was a very poignant, powerful thing to do, and I'm not criticizing them in any way, but those type of things, if you don't know what people stand for, if you don't know who they are and what makes them tick, it can hurt you as a brand. So
Yeah.
I guess bring that back is look at who they are authentically as much as you can and make sure that you know who you are as a brand, who you are
Yeah.
authentically. And get
And take a
alignment.
look at, and their track
Velcro.
record is really important too, right? I mean,
Yeah.
That's one of the one of the pitfalls. Having celebrity and influencer spokespeople, as a brand ambassador can be incredibly powerful because
That's what I was going to do.
if they have alignment, so you can say the side of
No,
it.
no, this is good. I like it. We're in sync here. We were going to do
Okay.
the same thing. Go,
Okay.
April. We're
Perfect.
back.
Okay, good. Yeah. Let's do it. So if it's somebody that already has amassed a following of people that are similarly minded and have similar values and they align with your values, and then they go ahead and share why you're aligned with their values that align with all the followers, values, it can be a really incredibly powerful way to reach a number of people at the same time based on what your brand is putting forward that audience is inherently going to think is important. So
The amplification that they can give you, not only in the audience that they reach, but in the credibility that they give you, or in the plaudits that they praise upon you or put upon you, those things can amplify that message, and just they can change perspective for people straight away. No, it wasn't.
plaudits is not your word of the day.
Nope. It's a good word. I like plaudits.
That's a good one. You could see why I would have thought that. I was like, I don't want to
Yeah.
interrupt you, but also
Yeah, I've got my hand up.
like that. I just raised my hand. Excuse
April,
me. Excuse me.
the
When you're
blonde student
done.
in the back row.
When you're done. So yeah, I agree with that. Is there anything else that we want to call out about this piece of?
I think that people have to be aware of is, if you're looking to use influencers or ambassadors, is it how much of your marketing budget is it going to take? And while some influencers can, to my previous point, truly amplify your message, you have to look at, is it amplifying your message in a way which is going to be constructive for your brand, in terms of, are you doing this for brand awareness? If you're doing it for sales, will they actually move the dial? And if they're not going to move the dial and they're just changing perspectives, what is your plan to reinforce that message coming through? So make sure you have an integrated marketing strategy that is going to leverage that is then going to support those messages in other ways, that is going to actually then make sure that the funnel, which you're bringing in more awareness to, is going to have a conversion plan through that. So look at how much are you putting into your ambassador or into your spokesperson or whatever they might be, and consider, where are you pulling funds from, and will that hurt your marketing through the whole process? Because if it's going to, it doesn't matter how much of a splash you make, because if you don't have the sales team sitting there to take the calls that people are calling in about, because they've seen that Beyonce is now spruiking your perfume. Yeah, Beyonce is not my word of the day either. Spruiking is not my word. Well, spruiking. Anyway, we'll come back to that. That if they are,
it's a slang, it's Australian slang.
If they are promoting your brand in a way which is going to cause people to call, and you've had to take budget from your sales team and there's not enough people to field them, you're going to damage your brand. So make sure that what you're doing can be reinforced and actually is going to be something that they can manage. And one of the things which we do when we build sites for people is say, well, are you doing this for lead generation? Are you doing it for what are the reasons? And okay, if we're going to do a search campaign for you, and we're going to do a social campaign, and you're looking at wanting to bring in 1,000 new clients per week, that's fantastic. We can do that. This is how much budget we need to spend. But the question I'll always ask them is, if we bring you in 1,000 leads, can you service them? Because if you can't service those leads, you damage your brand irreparably, because people will say, I waited 4 hours on the phone for them, or took them 3 weeks to come back on an email. So it's the same with your ambassadors. If they're going to generate something that brings attention to your brand, can you support that through the process as well, in a way which is going to make sure that everyone is happy all the time?
Yeah, because actually it's interesting, because we have a current client that has a very, very famous celebrity in the wings that they're working with behind the scenes, and they won't bring his name out until they actually can keep up with demand, because they know as soon as this particular celebrity is associated with the brand, they don't have capacity yet to keep up with demand. So that's a great point you're making.
Is it Donald Trump?
It is not. It's my boyfriend. He may be in lots of movies. It's so funny. Every time the client mentions him, I'm like, so my boyfriend. and he every time I say it, he goes, and he keeps moving. He just doesn't even acknowledge it.
Look, it's. I know who you're talking about. I know how exciting this campaign is.
I mean, it would be huge to use his name.
Look, and it's
and to
not
date
only
him.
that. What was that?
And to date him. No.
I thought you said Channing Tatum.
I mean, similar. Not
But look, it is a very exciting campaign. Coming back to it, I know, and this is one where that ambassador is someone whose morals and authenticity rings true and resonates within the brand itself. What that person will have to say, I don't know, but the way they present things is compelling, and it will hit the right notes for the client. So that's one instance where I think once it's known, we should loop back and do a profile on that piece.
I like it.
We can talk about your boyfriend.
Yay.
Maybe we can get him on the show.
Yeah. I'll have him right back here with Layla.
Lying on the floor.
Come here, babe. Like a little cameo.
Is that your word of the day?
Cameo?
Hmm.
No. So we move on to Lost in Translation.
Lost in
Yeah.
translation.
Yep. Let's see. So CNET has been reviewing the accuracy of all of its written articles after multiple major corrections.
Yes. Yes,
Which
this is the realm of things like Jasper AI. And we're talking about the up-and-coming use by brands, big and small, to use AI-based platforms to write their content based on small amounts of input that people put in, then seeding that content out. And this article talks about the fact that CNET decided to use a platform and then had to issue multiple major corrections to posts that had been published, probably because no one reviewed them.
So basically, that what we're understanding is that CNET was putting out articles that were created by AI, right? By Chat GPT.
Chat GPT is dynamite.
So here's some examples. The errors were as follows, according to CNET's hefty correction. The article implied a savings account initially containing $10,000 with a 3% interest rate, compounding annually, would accrue $10,300 in interest after a year. The real interest earned would be about $300.
Yeah.
An error similar to the above showed up in a second example based on the first, and then the post incorrectly stated that 1 year CD accounts interest only compounds annually, but in reality, CD accounts compound at variable frequencies. The article misreported how much a person would have to pay on a car loan with a 4% interest rate over 5 years, and the original post incorrectly conflated APR and APY and offered bad advice accordingly.
Wow. Oh, that's not good.
No, I mean, I understand why they're doing it, right? It's like a more cost-effective way of keeping up with news because the news isn't making that much money anymore. And how in the world are you supposed to turn a profit if you have to pay journalists what they're worth to do good job reporting, but everyone's getting free content now and nobody wants to pay for anything. And so the issue is that I can see why they would do that, right? I can see why it's like, okay, cool, let's tap into AI. That's because, there's even been temptations within the PR industry to do more of that. But
same in my side of the world as well.
But it doesn't actually pay off because then what happens is things end up sounding unprofessional or these kinds of dramatic errors happen. And in reality, I don't see any way for AI to ever catch up to the artistry of great writing because essentially, even good writers can't keep up with exceptional writers. And exceptional writers are exceptional because not only do they know all the rules, but they know when to break them for effect, for impact, right? So they know, okay, using a sentence fragment here to change up the flow of this overall paragraph for great impact to make a dramatic point is done on purpose to create a different flow and ebb and rhythm to the language. And that's something that AI would never, I mean, like I said, even good writers can't do. It's something only the best writers can do.
The art of subtlety is based on nuance and emotion and all these things that AI writers have agreed still is something they struggle to convey. And as you said, the difference between long sentence for most of it and then inserting a short staccato sentence.
Right.
Not my word of the day. Is
I'm just going to keep guessing every time you say a word that's not common.
Yeah, well, it's okay. You've done very well today because other than Cameo, I haven't picked up on any words out of whack yet. So you either haven't used it or you've been very clever. But Yeah, I don't know. Like authors. I mean, if AI is going to take over the world, what books are we going to be reading? Self-help books written by a computer? No. How I Got Ahead in the World? Computer? No. The learnings, the nuances, the history that humans have, our ability to relate something that happened to us 30 years ago and bring it into context now is something that I think we can do so well because of the emotion that we imbue into the pieces that we're writing. And I think that that's vital for good writing. And I don't know if AI is there yet. And yes, in these instances, it proves that AI might be able to write, but it doesn't know how to compute. It doesn't know how to do the maths as well, and it doesn't know how to then make that contextual, and it doesn't know. So there's still holes there, which gives me some hope because I'm a little bit scared that AI is going to lead to a Cyberdyne's, Terminator style event one day, but yeah, hopefully not in my lifetime. As I say that, and I'm reading the article, there's an ad for Alienware. I'm like, yes, aliens.
Alienware?
Alienware, yeah, they're gaming computers.
My lord. Okay, so I want to try out something with you. So I just logged into Chat GPT. We can test it out.
Okay.
So Hamish, what would
Yeah.
you like me to Chat GPT test out?
What is more important, digital marketing or PR?
Okay. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Both digital marketing and PR are important for a business, but their specific importance can vary depending on the goals and objectives of the company. Digital marketing refers to the use of digital channels such as websites, social media, search engines, and email to promote a product or service. It can be used to reach a large and targeted audience and is often used to generate leads and sales.
That's interesting, isn't it? That's
It
sort
is-
of paradoxical.
Yeah. PR or public relations is the practice of building relationships between a company and its stakeholders, such as customers, employees, and the media. PR can be used to improve brand reputation, generate positive media coverage, and build trust and credibility with key audiences. It is difficult to say which is more important as they both have different objectives, but they can complement each other. Digital marketing can be used to generate leads and sales, while PR can be used to build the reputation of the brand, and both are essential in a marketing strategy.
Not a bad answer.
It's
I mean, a
not
couple
bad.
of look, the logic is correct. A couple of those sentences are a little bit clunky. Like you can use it to target a large and targeted audience or whatever.
And Veronica says she just used it to do a press release, and it was super creepy. Our show producer, for those of you who don't know who Veronica is, literally did a full blog post and a press release for her and a creepy robot speak. Ooh.
I have a question, not necessarily for you, Veronica, because that is a little bit creepy, but it made me realize if you asked the question of AI and April asked the exact same question a day later, a week later, a month later, would it generate the same response or does it learn from your previous